What's up, guys? My name is Zain. You know me. We're back here with Zeth. So Zeth was actually on the fence about joining the program. Was pretty skeptical before he joined the ZNA Inner Circle program, started working with us. And fast forward to now, he's seen some crazy results, which I'm going to let him tell you about here in a little bit. But with that being said, Zeth, you want to just give a quick introduction, who you are, where you're from, what you do?
Yeah, I'm Zeth, and I'm Midmo Sneakers on Instagram. But I was reselling for like 2 years before I joined ZNA, and then I came across Zane's page on Instagram from like a reel or something, I think. And I know you kept DMing me or something like asking how I'm doing, and I
Yeah.
was like I kind of knew it was something like a group or something. I had never joined a group before, but then I was like, all right, I'll try it, and I hopped on a call with Aiden, and I actually like I took 2 hours to like decide. He said it was like one of the longest calls he's had, or maybe the longest. I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was like a 2 or 3 hour. I think it was 2 hours that he said how long it was, and yeah. Then I ended up joining that first call, and I was making below 1K profit a month back then, and like it was like a few $100 a month, and I kind of just didn't have the connections. I feel like I knew shoes, and I was doing it for 2 years, and I was never making over a K a month. So like
Right.
I knew shoes, and I've done shoes for a while. I'm almost on 3 years now, by the way. I joined ZNA in September, I believe, and
Yeah.
but yeah, I knew shoes. I just didn't have the connections, and once I joined ZNA, I realized like there's a lot. You know the people, and you know they're legit, and they're actually serious, and they're here for business. So I met a lot of more people, and like it's people I talk to. Like some of these people I talk to just randomly about random things, not even about shoes. Sometimes they're all cool people and stuff.
It's like a little mini family. Exactly.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a real
yeah,
community, a real family. 100%. Dope. So you mentioned that before you joined, you're doing shoes for about 2 years, and you never broke $1,000 in profit in a month,
yeah. Never. I
which
mean, I
is
hit like
crazy.
900. That was my max. Like a little bit over 900, but never 1K.
Yeah, and so many people go years without ever breaking a
Yeah.
thousand or 2,000 or 3,000 because they just try to figure it out on their own.
Uh huh.
So in terms of where you ended up, like I don't remember exactly what your best month is. I kind of have a range of what it is, but what ended up becoming like your best month ever since joining?
Um, December. I would say it's been kind of building up ever since. And December, I did like I think it was around like 3K or maybe like 3.5, something like that. And then
Solid.
it was like a big jump because November I did like 1.7. That's like double, I believe. So
Yeah, I
it
mean,
was a
literally,
big
no.
jump.
From September, you had September, October, November,
Yeah.
December. It's only 3 or 4 months, and you went
August, the
from
month before
three
ZNA, I
x.
was at like 600. So I went from
Yeah,
August before ZNA. I joined ZNA like September, a little bit after their first, and then September I think I hit 1K that month. Like that was my first month in ZNA. I hit 1K in September, so that was cool. And I was like, all right, cool. And then yeah, it's been building up ever since. Like I said, like three
yeah.
point five even
You
December.
literally 5x the business
Yeah,
in,
yeah, like
which is
3 4
insane.
months or whatever it was.
So yeah, it makes sense. Well, first of all, fire, congrats. Keep going, get it to
Yeah,
5, 10.
yeah.
Just
Well,
keep,
I
let
just
it
keep
keep
pushing.
building.
Like I
Yeah,
didn't believe I was gonna hit that much in December, and like once you get there, it's not like the biggest accomplishment ever. It's kind of more like, oh, cool. Now I'm just like you just want to get more and
and
more
then
every
it's like,
time.
what's the next number? 100%.
Yep,
That never
yep,
stops, no matter how long you
yeah.
keep going. Describe for me a little bit about what your reselling business looked like before the program. So you said you were stuck at 600 a month was like the best.
hmm
What were you doing to make that 600? What do you feel like you did differently between making 600 a month and then going and making 3,000 a month doing the
I would
same business
say
model?
I mentioned earlier the connections I gained from ZNA. It's not even just the people in ZNA, but once you build the connections in ZNA, you can you can go and build new connections with other people. And my bad. But you can build more connections
Little
with other
bro in the
people.
background.
Yeah. And like other people that ZNA has done business with. So like just the connections expanded crazy quick.
Yeah.
And my connections before were like so low. I didn't have places to buy and sell as often as I do now.
Got it. So for you, is mainly the connections that kind of helped you take it to the next level, getting connected with more
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Like you mentioned, that super active community of real people that are
yeah.
actively doing this. What do you
There's
feel
some
like?
break drops work too, stuff like that. Like some of the
Yeah,
little
yeah,
things, those don't do like just completely change your business, but like all the small things like that adding up also adds in a big factor.
So just in terms of like your favorite, I guess the most you mentioned obviously the buyers and sellers connections, which is good. But if you had to think of something else, or maybe it's just that was the most beneficial thing that you think really changed everything for you, what would that be from the program?
Um, I think this one's kind of hard. I would say I don't know. I think that was the biggest factor, just the connections. But
Just a connection, which is fine. Yeah, I mean,
like I said,
absolutely.
the brick drops too also helps too. That's like a little extra money on the side too.
Yeah.
I know I hit a lot of ASICs for retail. That I made like over two K profit off ASICs just off like random brick drops. Not all brick drops from ZNA, but um, just like other things I've found myself. And yeah, bricks. I wasn't even into bricks before ZNA, so I didn't even
Wow.
buy a pair of ASICs before I got into ZNA. And they said they were like popping in the summer, and I joined in September. I joined in September, and I seen all these ASICs and stuff in ZNA. It was kind of like maybe an exposure to more of the popular um,
Trends and
fashion
skews. Yeah,
trends and
I mean,
stuff.
I think in
Yeah,
a way, yeah, just being in the community too, everyone's always talking about what they're
you're
buying
not
and
you're not
selling. So
behind. You're around a
no,
lot of
never.
people that know what they're doing, and they're like a lot of steps ahead. So once you're around those people, you're kind of with them, and you're not left behind. Like if you're by yourself, you're kind of by yourself. You have to find everything on your own.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I think that's once again for me. It's always the best thing in any group or course or whatever thing I buy. It's always the community that's just
Yeah,
so valuable.
and this is the
So it's
only
kind of
course
valuable,
I've ever bought too.
and
So
hopefully it's
yeah,
the only one that you
yeah.
ever
I
have
know
to buy.
Shauna went through a lot before she joined, which like sucks. And I'm glad I found this one first, and I didn't have to go through so many to find like a good community and stuff. But this one, it was my first one I've ever joined, so
Yeah,
it was
unfortunately, there's
cool.
a lot of people that go through a bunch and then
Yeah,
don't get great results, and they bounce from
yeah.
balance and balance, and then they end up with us, and then thankfully, like we're able to help them out. But
Uh huh.
yeah, that's why we do this, right? That's why we're here. So okay, cool. Well, that's awesome, and I think that's super solid. I'm glad that it's been so good for you. In terms of just like time commitment, right? Like how much time you're putting into this, um, and then also breaking out what we handles for you. Now, it's not like we don't do like a done for you, like we're not reselling for you, but can
Yeah.
you kind of break down for someone that maybe doesn't know one how long you were spending per day per week actually working on this, and then two what we kind of did for you that like specifically like you know we provided you buyers, we provided you training SKUs weekly, kind of dive more into all of that stuff.
You said well, what was the first question like how
Yeah,
much
so
time I
yeah, my bad.
spent
I'll
doing it?
keep the questions kind
Yeah.
of broken up. So just like how much were you spending in terms of time, weekly, daily?
Before ZNA or
No,
after
just
or both?
throughout the program, like when you joined
Oh, throughout the
ZNA,
program.
how much time were you putting in to kind
Um,
of see the results that you did?
to be honest, it's not a lot. Not like it's pretty low for how much you make off of this. It's I would say less than 10 hours a week, at most 10 hours a week sometimes. But every week is going to be different. Kind of just depends, like how quick stuff is going. December is obviously a longer month because of like all the holidays and stuff going on. So it's probably December. I was probably spending around 10 hours a week, and I mean that's less than a part time job. Before December though, I would say always less than 10 hours a week, like
So with a part-time
five to
job
ten.
and you're still in school too, right?
Yeah, well, I'm
Yeah.
not going this semester. I'm gonna see what I can do, with this reselling stuff outside of that and just work at the same time. Cause I mean, it was very time consuming with school. When I was in school, I got out the beginning of December so I could spend more time on this too. And but during school, they have you spending like all of your time on school plus working
Yeah,
a
I
job at the
just
same time.
graduated, so I
Yeah,
know the struggle. So
yeah,
you're in college, I assume, yeah.
yeah. I was just going to a community college. That was my first
Freshman,
semester, and then I
sophomore,
just finished. Yeah, yeah, freshman.
yeah. No, look, I always advocate go ahead and finish school if you can, but also I
Yeah,
don't. I have plenty of friends that didn't finish, so it's completely fine too.
yeah,
That's solid, bro. The fact that you were doing it in college with a part-time job, I mean, that's honestly really really solid. You're able to handle
yeah,
all that. That's
yeah,
good. Props to you because always struggled with that balancing it. I was still able to balance it even with a full-time college schedule, and then also
yeah.
I didn't have a full-time job, but
I wasn't
I
even
had a
in full
part-time
time
job.
for school either, so it was kind of easier for me. But that's three different
Yeah,
things I'm doing at the same time, so it was still difficult at sometimes.
yeah. And you're taking the semester off, so hopefully,
Yeah.
we'll kind of dive into that too. Where do you see? I mean, just based on what you learned and based on your results so far, where do you see the business maybe 6 to 12 months from now? I mean, I'd
I would
assume
say,
you want to keep making more, right? So where do you see
yeah,
it actually
yeah.
ending up six to
I
twelve
want to.
months from now?
My goal is like over 5K a month. Throughout the whole year, and
Okay,
I know I've been reaching my goals since I've joined ZNA. So in 12 months, I think my goal would probably be up to like wanting to make over 8 to 9K a month. Who knows? It might even be over 10K a month. I mean, hopefully, but we'll see. We'll see where it takes me. You know?
I would say just shoot for the stars and land on the
Yeah,
moon, right? Like, don't. The number's only unrealistic if you tell yourself it's unrealistic. There's plenty of people
yeah,
that are doing that, and so just keep learning, keep growing, and keep surrounding yourself with people that are making that kind of money. You'll start to get there.
yep,
Um, so one thing I kind of want to go back to, we mentioned in the beginning that call was 2 hours long, before you ended up joining because you
yeah.
just had so many questions. What did you feel like were your biggest misconceptions, or I guess things that you were skeptical about before you ended up pulling the
Um,
trigger and taking the chance on us?
just I would say just making that big investment without knowing exactly what it's gonna do for you. You know what I mean? Like you're spending that amount on like it's on something, but not like a physical thing. Like you have to make yourself you if if you want to make it worth the investment, you have to make it worth the investment yourself. I would say, and I would say I did because I've made way more than I used to before the group. So I think I pushed. I would say the best thing about the group, besides the connections and stuff too, was the investment that I made in the beginning because it kind of forced me to. It kind of just like
It lit a
I would
fire
say
under
work
you, and
harder.
that's
Yeah,
yeah, hundred
yeah.
percent, 100%.
It's an investment and it kind of scares you. I was so scared like the first 2 3 days of joining, and I was like I have to make it back. I have to make the money back, and I have to make more than that on top. And like I was just really hoping it would work out, and I was kind of scared it wasn't going to. But I think that flame that it gave me just kind of pushed me my hardest to keep going and work harder than I did before. So that was also a big part of it. That was kind of answering the question from earlier that I didn't know how to answer. But
Yeah.
what was the question before that again? I was like on it, but then I kind of changed it.
It was more. I mean, I think you kind of answered it. It was just what were
Yeah,
your biggest misconceptions just about
yeah,
joining?
yeah.
So
Just I
you
would say just
mentioned,
the investment then, and then
yeah,
kind of
which is
just knowing
normal, right?
people in
I
the
want to
group.
make a quick comment on that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
completely normal to feel that way. And I know, like when I made my first big investment in a coaching program, now I've spent over 5 figures on a single
yeah,
coaching program
yeah.
to get
I only
better.
had like
Because
3K in capital at the time,
yeah,
so I was spending that much, and it was kind of like I would have a little bit of capital left to work with, but it definitely was worth it too.
well, why
It
it's
worked
so
out.
worth it, why it makes sense to even do that is because it does seem like a big jab in the beginning, but one
Yeah,
thing you have to realize, right? For 2 years, you didn't get the results you wanted. Think about the knowledge that you're missing. Think about if you're still making 600 a month now, like
yeah,
how bad that would be. Would you not pay 10K to learn how to make more, like 3K a month? Because the
yeah.
reality is, after 4 or 5 months, you're already making your investment back, or you get stuck
Right.
at 600 your whole life. So a lot of people don't realize that it's actually costing them more to not make the investment and to not learn than it is to make the investment because it's a jab in the beginning. But if you stay where you are, or even worse, get worse, that's more dangerous than a little bit of a jab in the beginning that's going to
Yeah.
put you around the right people to get better. So 100%. And I'm glad that you made the choice, and I'm sure you probably are
Me
glad that you
too.
made the choice as
Yeah.
well. And so that's why we took the time and really invested in you because we wanted to see you win, and I'm happy to see
Yeah.
how it ended up, and I want to see you continue to win, and I know you're going to because you are like super hardworking. Um, one of the quickest, like, to just ask questions and hop in calls. You're always active, so that's a big reason why you got the results that you did. And we
Hmm.
saw that, and we knew it was going to happen. You can kind of tell when someone's going to be successful. I mean, I've worked with hundreds of people at this point, and
Yeah.
I can kind of just smell it. If you just want
Yeah.
it bad enough, it's gonna happen. So, would you say you were surprised by the results that you got?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Sweet,
Because I
sweet.
mean, I'd seen. Well, the reason I like actually DM'd you about joining the group was because I seen the results from the back to school competition. You're
Yeah,
posting the results. That's when I actually like. Because I was kind of like ghosting the messages that I was getting. And then I seen that and I slid up on your story and I was like, all right, we got the call scheduled and and it went from there. But I seen
Yeah.
those results and I was
And
like,
you saw that,
geez,
it's real. Like these are real
yeah,
people, and then
yeah,
you ended up becoming a part of
yeah. I
that.
ended
It's
up
a cool
becoming one
story.
of those people like
Yeah,
getting those crazy results too. So it was
yeah,
cool.
yeah. 100%, bro. Okay, well, last question. I want to keep this. I don't want to keep this too much longer.
Yep, for sure.
If you could tell someone that's on the fence about working with us, one thing, what would that one thing be?
Um, I would tell him to take the risk because I was so on the fence about taking the risk, and I took it, and it worked out. If you don't take the risk, you're not. You're just gonna, like you said, you're gonna be stuck at 600 a month. And I mean, you can. I mean, if you're cool with that, I mean, it's whatever. But if you take the risk, it can build up to be so much more in the long run. And I think the long run is definitely like what you need to look at rather than just seeing what you're gonna make each month. But yeah, I would say taking that risk is definitely the biggest thing for me.
100%, bro. Well, dope. Is there anything, any messages you want to send to the people? I mean, this is all I
Um,
got really. I wanted to say one thing. Super proud of
yeah,
you, genuinely. Like
appreciate you.
it's crazy. It's always like a really good feeling when someone's skeptical. Because I remember Aiden hopping off
Yeah.
the call and being like, "Bro, they're on the call for 2 hours." Like
Mhm.
he was so like not wanting to do it, but he did it.
Yeah.
But when he said that, I was like, okay, like I know this kid's not gonna he's not gonna fail. But it's
Yeah.
just also really cool seeing like it actually. I mean, we know it works, but once you actually see that it works, it's a good feeling because it's like
Yeah.
I told you, but like now you see it, you know. So I'm just glad it all ended up working out as expected.
Yeah. Me
And
too.
yeah, any last minute message for the people or
Um,
anything?
I would say take the risk, and like I said, that's my biggest word for the other people. Like take the risk, and when you do, don't take advantage. Take advantage of it. Like don't take it for granted. Like you said, I was hopping in calls and stuff when I first joined all the time. And I was always DMing people in the Discord and on Instagram from ZNA. Once you do actually take the risk, make sure you make it worth it and build as many connections as you can. That's really what I did at the beginning. Build all the connections, join the calls, always kind of just listen to what everyone else had to say. And I was more of listening, but now I would say I talk more in the calls and like I'm more of like one of those people. I have people from ZNA that join me. I mean that join ZNA. They text me and they're like, "How'd you do this? How'd you do that?" Like I've had probably 3 to 5 people DMing me asking me how I've like done it since I've joined, and I just kind of like tell them what I just said, like just always listen to people, join the calls, and build as many connections as you can, and it'll work out as long as you do all those things.
100%. Well, with that being said, uh, you guys heard him. I'm gonna just end it off on that.
Yeah,
Subscribe, and if you want to learn more about how you could work with me directly and get access to the same system and results that Zeth had, go down into the description, and there'll be a link to book a call. That being said, see you in the next video.